Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Wow, this is an in-depth book. It's called The Cast. It's written by Amy Blumenfeld, and we're going to talk to Amy right now. She's on the phone. She is an award-winning journalist, a contributor to the New York Times, the Huffington Post, Oprah Magazine, Prevention, and she herself was diagnosed with childhood cancer in her teens. The book is called The Cast. It's a novel exploring the power of forgiveness and the power of authenticity. And the beginning of it, anyway, will inspire you to make a Saturday Night Live video of your own. that's what I'm thinking.
That's pretty ingenious.
Also, Amy wants to talk about the healing power of friendship and having a surrogate for your child. And how do you tell your child she was born from a surrogate? Wow, Amy and her husband have a surrogate for their child. Amy, you've got a lot of information on here. Good morning, Amy. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Where are you?
I'm in New York.
So how long ago did you have a surrogate carry a child for you and your husband? How long ago?
My daughter's 12.
12. Okay. And your daughter's okay with that? She knows that you ever been?
Oh, yeah. She's very, very comfortable with it, very proud of it. We never wanted to lie to her about how she came into the world. She's biologically, genetically me and my husband.
Uh-huh.
So I had to find a way when she was very young, when she was noticing, my sister-in-law was pregnant, my friends were pregnant, and she said, I want to see pictures of when I was in your belly.
Oh, wow.
And so I explained to her in, terms that she could understand that, it was like baking a cake. And so Daddy and I were the ingredients, and the oven was broken. So my oven was broken. So we had to put her cake into somebody else to bake. And then 9 months later, she was born.
That is brilliant. Oh, my God.
So that's how I put it into terms she could understand. And then as she got over, she asked more and more questions, and we just sort of built on that. I just planted that little seed, and then it blossomed from there.
That is so sweet. I have a niece who was a surrogate also, and she came in here one time, and she was pregnant, and I thought, well, I had no idea you were pregnant. And she said, well, we're here to meet the parents. What?
Interesting.
Yeah, and we broadcast from the mall, so that's what I mean. So you understand why would she come to a radio station? We broadcast, right. Yeah. So she can't. It was a common public place to meet them. So
got it.
Well, that must have been high anxiety for you and your husband, though, because you had to make sure the surrogate wasn't abusing her body.
Right. Well,
things.
Right, exactly. I mean, we were incredibly lucky with our carrier. She's wonderful. But, you go into this, people who are pregnant don't have control over their bodies. They in terms of, gaining weight or feeling nauseous or just all of those things. I had control over my body, but I didn't have control over what the carrier was doing with her body. So when you go through this process and you're looking for somebody, you really, my husband and I wanted somebody who was in a stable relationship, so they had support at home. We wanted somebody who had done this before, so that she didn't feel like she was giving up her own child, and we wanted somebody who had their own children already. So those were the three things we were looking for. We didn't care about where they were geographically, but we wanted somebody experienced, someone with their own children, and somebody who had support, whether there was a marriage or a partnership or whatever. They needed somebody to help them out at home because it's a lot to take care of.
Wow. It's an amazing thing that we can even do that in today's. It's just so great that we can do that. I mean, for a couple like yourselves, that this can happen. Is this part of the cast? I'm not sure.
Well, it's not a huge part of it. I mean, I used my own experiences having cancer as a child and a little bit of the surrogacy, but not so much, as a springboard into a conversation about, the long-term survivorship issues that childhood cancer patients face. But this is completely not a cancer book. It's a book about friendship. It's almost like The Big Chill. It's a reunion of childhood friends. They rallied around one of their friends when she was sick in ninth grade. They made the Saturday Night Live style videotape to cheer her up because they weren't doctors. They couldn't cure her, but they could make her laugh. So they made this videotape. And she ends up okay. 25 years later, they reunite over the course of a holiday weekend, a summer weekend in the Berkshires. And they find that all of their lives are sort of at a crossroads, and they're all dealing with something. And so that's the premise of the book.
Wow. Explain the part about authenticity. I'll just say it like that. Explain the authenticity part.
So there are several characters, and as I said, they're all sort of at a crossroads and dealing with something in their lives. And authenticity and staying true to themselves and listening to their gut and deciding who they really are and who they want to be, plays a role in all of the stories. So, for instance, one couple, they're Orthodox Jews, and they're now turning 40, and they have dealt with infertility for years and years. And finally, on the cusp of 40, they're becoming parents. And so one member of the couple is not sure, the wife actually, she is not sure if she wants to continue with their level of observance where the husband does. And so she's trying in her gut to figure out, who she really is and what kind of parent she wants to be to her child, and what does she want to pass on in terms of religion and observance to her child. Another couple is dealing with a medical crisis, and they love each other. There's a ton of respect. And, they have a great marriage, but they fundamentally disagree about how to handle this medical crisis. And so each one is staying true to themselves, but how do you reconcile that when you're really you got to make a decision? And then another couple, another woman is in sort of a comfortable marriage. She has a beautiful home, the 3 kids, the minivan, the white picket fence, the whole dream she thought she wanted, but it's passionless. And she's trying to figure out whether she moves forward or not with ending the marriage or staying in.
You had the opportunity to be a mentor to a young girl who was going through cancer when you yourself were at the doctor's office.
Oh, I only spoke with her for that one day and one day after it. But yes, one of the sources of inspiration for this book was I was in graduate school for journalism, and we were told at the beginning of the year to write a master's project. And it had to be a topic that would sustain our interest throughout the course of the year. And so the day before the topic submission date, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I went to the hospital for my annual checkup with my doctor, my oncologist, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and I'm jotting down different ideas for this master's project. And a woman is sitting next to me, and she taps me on the shoulder, and she said, "Oh, are you waiting for somebody?" She's trying to make conversation. And I said, "Well, actually," and I pulled up my sleeve. I said, "I'm the patient." And I showed her my little ID tag that they gave me when I checked in. And she was sort of blown away that here I was in my 20s, and I had been sick as a child, and her daughter was sitting next to her. And they were asking me all of these questions about my own experience, about treatment, about life after treatment, about my family's experience with it. And so I ended up, after my appointment that day, spending the remainder of the day with them, answering their questions. And then I knew I had the topic for my master's project.
Wow. The book is called The Cast. So take us to that point. 25 years later, they're all together, and they're all telling each other about their lives. And if I was, oh my gosh, how do I ask this question? If I was, let's say, the parent of one of them, if I can do it this way, then my advice, if they asked for it, would be to be authentic. I think that's the one thing that we make a mistake of as humans, is to give people advice that we think we would do, rather than telling them you should do what is your gut. And is that where the story goes? Is that what you're trying to do?
I think I'm just trying to say, listen to yourself and be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Regardless of, the consequences. You really need to, if you're living an authentic life, it should be, it's a happy life. If there's a facade and you're trying to be someone you're not, that's exhausting.
Oh,
and it ultimately will end up in not such a great place.
Well, and the couple that you just described, which she's not sure whether she wants to stay in the marriage or not, I mean, that's authentic. And that's something we go through as human beings. We get to that point sometimes, and it's not easy. It's not easy to be authentic and at the same time try to not hurt somebody who you love or at least have loved, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, as I said on the cover of the book, you know, they all had these happy holiday card facades. And so when you're staying in touch with these old childhood friends, very often it's sort of limited to these holiday cards, and you're seeing these perfect, you know, airbrushed pictures of everybody. But the reality is not everybody has such a perfect life behind those perfect facades.
Right. And in today's world, it's also Facebook.
Well, exactly.
Everybody's had
Instagram. Yeah.
Everybody's got a nice plate of food and they're swimming in a beautiful swimming pool.
Yeah, not me.
Exactly.
And then you talk about community in your book, because this video actually happened to you when you were younger, and it seemed everybody in your community knew everybody else, and they all got together to help your folks and your family. But now it seems like a person moves into a community, and you know, you've been there for like 10 years and you still don't know your neighbors.
I mean, yes, this book was definitely inspired. It's not an exact story. It's inspired by truth, but it's completely fictionalized. The tape that was made for me was done by 40 people. It was 10 families in our synagogue community, and they wrote the script. They did the whole thing. There was kids and adults, and that's where I got the idea for this. Yeah, but it's changed. I mean, the community that we have now is different than the community that I had growing up.
That is cool. Did anybody use that tape to try to get work at Saturday Night Live?
There is no way I would have been hired. It was adorable and the greatest gift I ever received, but no, they would not make it past the first round of auditions.
How did your husband feel when you wrote the book?
Oh, he's been incredible. He's been so wonderful and supportive from day one. I mean, he's been amazing.
How did you manage to balance the writing with keeping your family life afloat? It's hard. But you know, as soon as I got my daughter off to school, I would sit down and start writing. And then as soon as the school day was over, I'd, you know, pick her up and shift gears. And that's, you know, pretty much how it was done.
Amy, is this your first book?
It is.
Wow.
This is my first of my own. Yes. So I've contributed to 2 other books, nonfiction, but this is my first experience with fiction and my first book of my own.
Wow. I found it on Amazon just for the listener's sake. And it looks like you're, is it brand new? I'm looking here.
It's coming out tomorrow, August 14th.
Oh, okay. That explains it. Okay. Wow. And it's already showing up on some of the numbers here. So there must be some pre-sales or something going on, or I could buy it right now, couldn't I? I'm a Prime member. I could get it right now.
That's right.
Go for it.
Sometimes when most people grow up, they want to feel like they're going to have a career that contributes to the world. And then sometimes they can't actually go into that career. The career of the medical profession seems to be first and foremost of everybody's mind. But you bring out that people should not feel guilty if you're not going to be a doctor. You contribute in other ways.
Exactly. I mean, especially going through an experience, you know, a medical experience as a child, health, you really feel this need to give back and say thank you. And I knew, given my aptitude in high school chemistry, there was no chance I was going to medical school. But I wanted to give back and make a difference in a way that, you know, would speak to my own talents and my own abilities. And so I felt there was a book in me for a very long time. I just didn't know what format it would be. When I wrote my master's project, that really, I don't know, it started something inside of me. And I felt that one day it would turn into something larger. My professor at graduation said, you really should turn this into a book. But I suspect he meant that it would be some form of nonfiction, maybe a series of interviews. But over the years, I realized that didn't click. It didn't feel right to me. And 2 years ago, I came up with this idea for the cast, and it just sort of all came together.
It's a really good idea. Are you shy by nature?
Incredibly.
and does the books in a way show us how that shyness was remedied by friendship?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, no, I'm shy, I think, in a group setting, but one-on-one, I'm okay. But yes, exactly. Friendship can definitely, when you have friends who really get you and understand you, and you click with them, I think that really helps.
Did you, when you were younger, did you look at your friends who were not shy and want to be like that, and in fact emulate that, so you could like fake it until you make it?
No, truly, I didn't. I was very lucky, and I had parents, and a sibling who just made me feel at ease with who I am. Like just be comfortable in your skin, and so that was a very good lesson. So I think that's in part why, people, when you're authentic and true to yourself, I think that's when you make the quality friends, because they know who you really are.
And were your religious beliefs, did they play a huge factor in your personal survival and then your efforts to move forward?
I mean, I was 13, 14, and 15 at the time that I was treated. I think it definitely helped, and I think it helped my parents, certainly. I think it was very much a part of it. It gives you strength. Yeah.
And that still must have been a part when you were choosing a surrogate for prayer.
Yes, certainly.
The book is called The Cast. It's written by our guest, Amy Blumenfeld, and The Cast is the gold winner of the 2018 IPPY Award, which stands for Independent Publisher Book Award, I guess, something like that, right? And so that's good. So did you submit to that contest and get this pleasant surprise when you found out that you won?
Yes. Yes.
That is so cool. It's a lot of work to put a book together, and then to know that people are reading it and responding positively to it has to be the ultimate satisfaction for yourself.
Truly, it's incredibly rewarding. I'm very pleased with, this is just a bucket list item, and the rest of it is gravy. To hear that people are really enjoying it and it's resonating I'm just thrilled. And
your book is very fun too. I mean, it's not doom and gloom or anything like that. The characters are fun with real issues, and it's great. It's a wonderful read.
Thank you. I didn't want to write a cancer book. I didn't want to write something that was heavy. I wanted to write something that I would want to read. Yeah. And this is the type of book, and I think that is the greatest lesson. I know several writers are, trying to figure out what should I write. You write what you want to read, and I think that really helped me throughout this process.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, okay? But I think you're going to like this question, okay? Let's say you get a call, and it turns out that one of the Saturday Night Live cast members has read the book and wants to star in the movie of the book, okay? And my question to you is not how do you react, but who's the first person you call to tell?
The first person I called to tell?
Yeah. Once you get that call from whoever it is on Saturday Night Live that says,
my God. I call my husband. I'll call my husband first. I would certainly call my husband. He would freak out. And then I would call, my family and my friends. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Do you think because of social media, Facebook in particular, since it seems to be for the older people, like Larry and myself, that we have reconnected with friends that we haven't seen in like 20 years from our school days? Do you think that's
50 years is more
well, health-wise a bit better for us because everybody seems to be very interested in what everybody else is doing?
I mean, listen, it's like anything else. There are pros and cons to it. But I think on the whole, it's nice to reconnect with all of these people. And ultimately, you can choose whether or not to respond to these things when they reach out. But on the whole, I think it's really nice to be able to connect with all these people.
Mm-hmm. We had a rocket that took off from Cape Canaveral yesterday, and it's heading to the corona of the sun. And I said, they could have just gone to Queens.
But I'm bummed.
I thought you'd like it. I just thought it's a New York joke.
They can stop off at the Lemon Ice King of Corona.
Has your daughter asked you if there would be a possibility that she might get childhood cancer because of your history?
Oh God, that's, we don't touch that. I mean, hopefully, God forbid, never happen. Forbid, yeah. But we try to not focus on that.
Amy, thank you for being on the show with us. I went to your website. You've got a wonderful website. You can learn about Amy a little bit on the website. That's how I knew you were from Queens. And the website, good. I mean, it's interesting that Amy Blumenfeld was actually available.com.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems like .coms are hardly available anymore, but your name wasn't taken yet, so that's a good thing. I have a copy. I have a copy of the cast right here. So if I have a listener who would like the copy that was sent to me, just call me right now, and I'll put your name on it, and you can come pick it up.
I love the cover because I love the idea of being around a dining room table. It looks so friendly, and it's just so very artsy. I just really enjoy
I love it too. The publisher did a fantastic job. I love it. Yeah. I agree with you. It's very inviting.
So are you enjoying this part of marketing the book, getting on the radio with all these people around the country?
For an introvert, it's actually I do. It's kind of fun. I know the topic, so it's
yeah, you do.
And so it's not so hard, but I enjoy it.
Let me give the book away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Freda.
Who?
Freda.
Okay.
Freda.
Fred. Okay. Do you know where we are?
I do.
Okay. The book will be waiting for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Amy, you've got a hit. The phone lit up when I told everybody it was available. that doesn't always happen.
Oh, yay. Thank you, guys.
As long as we're giving it away. Now, if we're charging for it,
that'd be a whole other ballgame.
Amy Blumenfeld, thank you so much. Go to Amy's website, amyblumenfeld.com. Again, the book is called The Cast. Thank you, Amy.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.
Can you believe it? School's about to start.
Our teachers and school staff deserve a thank you and a nice welcome back to school.
Honey Baked Ham has a special boxed lunch offer to help schools provide the very best for the very best.
Their special box lunch offer is everything you need for a meal. A sandwich, chips, pickle, cookie, and bottled water or canned soda, all for one price.
And they deliver. Call them now for details. Honey Baked Ham of Ocala, 352-861-0011.
That's 352-861-0011.
You're thinking about selling your home, but where do you start? Easy. Call Angie at 352-361-8359. Angie works with you to get your home sold. Angie is more than just an agent with Roberts Real Estate. She's a pro with heart. Call her at 352-361-8359, and you will know you have the right person.
I'm Angie Umpleby, and I'm looking forward to working with